Welcome along to episode 835 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. Coming up on the show this week, Janette Manrara lets us know about her role as Roxy in Chicago at the Grand. We'll be chatting with Jack Marriner-Brown of Traitors fame, all about trains and how to get on and off them. We'll be talking to the team from the MND Association as we catch up with Richard Evans. Also talking to someone who suffers from motor neurone disease, Zoe Nixon, all about the concerns around funding for adaptations that are needed for those who do have MND. Also, we'll be joined by Omar Malik. He is going to tell us all about marriage material, which is at the Rep this week too. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
The sexiest musical ever. Chicago is at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 23rd to the 28th of June. It will be an absolute treat on that stage. Janette Manrara is here to tell us all about her part in the show. How are you doing?
Good. I'm really excited and absolutely buzzing to be playing Roxy in Chicago.
Oh, you couldn't ask for a better role than Roxy Hart, could you?
I just think she's so iconic, and the story of two women. This is a musical that has two women as the leads, and they're both not necessarily the best kind of people.
They're not role models you want to look up to, are they, really?
No,
in some ways.
You don't want your little girl to grow up and say, "Oh, I want to be a Roxy Hart," but at the same time, she is full of so much life and she's got such a tenacity about her. She really wants to achieve her dreams at all costs. That's the part where she gets scary. But there's something about her that you can't help but love Roxy, even though she's not a good egg, but you love her anyway.
Yeah, so the bad girls get all the good songs in this show.
Yeah, and I think what I find Chicago to be is just basically a really ugly mirror of the parts of society that aren't necessarily the nicest. But at the same time, in showcasing that ugly side, we also see that, when we kind of fight for our dreams and chase the things that we want, they can come true no matter what. So it's kind of a beautiful anomaly of what human beings can be like.
Absolutely, but you get the warmth of people underneath, and even though we're looking at murder, greed, corruption, exploitation, adultery, and treachery, all those things have actually got a really lovely group of people whom it's all happening to in their own way. You feel for them, you want to you want to hear their story, and you just love the way it's told.
Yeah, well, I think it just comes down to nobody's perfect. None of us are. We've all got some kind of little skeleton in our closet, I guess, and I think what Roxy does is it makes you feel like, you're not perfect and I'm not perfect, but we're trying to do our best in every way.
As long as we're not killing people, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't condone killing people or things like that at all, but that's just part of the story.
It is. Fortunately, it is a story. It's an amazing one, an amazing role, and a brilliant cast. Obviously, you're dancing. That's a given, and this is a very dance-heavy musical show, isn't it? So you're perfect for this.
I was honored to be learning Bob Fosse choreography, specifically Hot Honey Rag, which is the last dance that, Velma and Roxy do at the end of the show. That choreography hasn't been changed in years and years and years. So it's literally the same kind of stuff that Gwen Vernon and Chita Rivera were doing when it was created. And to kind of be a part of that is really, really special as a dancer, to know that you're doing the same kind of steps as all these iconic women have done in the past.
But this is just empowering as well. I like that to think too, and I like the fact that you haven't got anybody in here who doesn't, in their own way, come out on top, more or less.
Yeah, I think in the end, Roxy and Velma both win. Billy Flynn wins. I think all the characters kind of end the show feeling like you're rooting for them, you're happy for them because they've done it.
And obviously an amazing cast. How on earth all of you people ended up in the same place at the same time is just phenomenal.
I honestly pinch myself every day when I look around, and not just Brenda Edwards and Jalenga Scott and Darren Day now, who's my Billy Flynn, and Jordan, who's playing Miss Sunshine. But the ensemble, there's such a huge part of this show, and the ensemble are just as phenomenal as the leads in the show. And when we're all there together every night, every show really, before we do a show, we come together and we huddle into a little circle and we say something nice to, like, get each other ready for the show. And I feel so honored to be surrounded by so much talent, such professionalism, such kindness as well, because it can be a tough world to tour every single day and be away from your family and friends. And we really are all there for each other. It's amazing.
And aside of your numbers, what's your favorite bit of the show to watch from the wings?
Oh, it's got to be Cell Block Tango. I just think women being strong, empowered, awful,
But
and
they're
dancing
awful
and
for the right
singing.
reasons, though, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think that's why Chicago has done so well through the years, because I think it's a story that even today is still so relevant. And to see women being the front line of the show, women being the ones that are the leads in every shape or form. You don't have a strong leading Prince Charming type man. We've got Billy Flynn, obviously, who's the lawyer. He's quite devious and he's very, selfish and self-centered. So he's not the typical kind of leading man. So the show is all about the women. And I really, really appreciate that. And Cell Block Tango, I think, showcases that magnificently.
Yeah, I mean, that does an amazing song. There'll be Razzle Dazzle, there'll be all that jazz, there'll be everything you could hope from Chicago with an amazing cast bringing it together. And I think it's just going to be an absolute treat. And did you guys like sharing stuff on the socials as you're heading around the country as well? Do we get to see a bit of you guys behind the scenes too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, when I go backstage, I don't bring my phone with me because I kind of go into the zone a bit. But their social media, Chicago social media, is amazing because they do post lots of behind the scenes stuff that you get to see what it's like for us backstage, which is nice.
Do any of you guys doing a takeover for the Grand's feeds next week? That'd be
I'm
interesting.
gonna suggest it. I'll just do it myself.
Oh,
I'll
well,
do it
yeah,
for
okay. We'll,
everything.
we'll have a word with the gang, but you want to do
It-
a complete takeover of the Grand's, Facebook, Insta, all that sort of stuff, yeah?
I'll do it for the day. I've got you back.
Okay, we'll see what they can do down there. That'd be brilliant. Well, I'm very much looking forward to coming just to see the show on opening night. It is truly phenomenal, Chicago, and say the cast are going to be brilliant. Grandtheatre.co.uk to grab your tickets. 01902 429212 is the box office number. It's the 23rd to the 28th. There is limited availability already because it's Chicago and the cast are amazing. So look for where you can get your tickets. Go along, see it, enjoy. Break a leg, have a brilliant time, and just bring the sass to life on stage. Janette Manrara, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. Can't wait to see you on Monday.
From the 25th of June through to the 5th of July, there's going to be a little bit of Wolverhampton on stage at the Rep over in Brum. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Omar Malik. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. I hope we find you well and enjoying the experience that is marriage material.
Oh yes, it's amazing.
So, you got the novel by Sathnam Sanghera, and this has been brought to life by Gurpreet Kaur Bhatti. And how has that combination brought Wolverhampton to the stage?
Well, I mean, you'd have to talk to the writer, but from what I can experience, they both came on the first day, which was lovely to meet them all,
Mhm.
and it was amazing meeting Satnam. He went to all of us. He looked at all of us, and he just had it in mind. Right, we're going to see my characters on stage for the first time, and we were all really excited. And Gurpreet Kaur Bhatti, our lovely writer, has been in the room with us from day dot of rehearsal, just checking everything and making sure the words work and the play works and making it suit. Because with new writing, it's a collaborative experience between the actors and the directors and the tech and the writer. So we all come in together and make this beautiful piece of art. Um, yeah, it's been amazing. It's been really good.
And a chance to explore relationships and also to really throw a mirror up at society for the good and the bad.
Yeah, that's a good synopsis of it, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, so we find ourselves in Baines Corner Shop in Wolverhampton, the centre of the family for 3 generations. So when did this store open? What time are we looking at, and where have we got to?
We're looking at the late 60s. So it opens up in the prologue, and we get a glimpse and an essence of the characters that start the shop. So we got Mr. and Mrs. Baines who open up the corner shop, and they have their friend Patwant Danda who's also come along, and he's about to open his own shop as well. So it's about these cultures coming together, their own ideas and dreams. This is what this play is about, dreams and making these relationships work when we come to a new country. And they're hit by racism, they're hit by culture shocks. Also, the fact they have these 2 young daughters as well, have come that are in this country, and they're open to so much more opportunity than they were back home, and it's amazing for them to like witness and see. And then through the years, we go on and we find out how they've acclimatized the situation and are running the shop as well. I don't want to say too much. I have a tendency to like spoil things.
Yeah, no
Being
spoilers,
very
please,
careful.
no spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. No spoilers. But yeah, come and see it. It's amazing. I mean, for me, we don't get enough South Asian stories up on stage. So this is one of the first. And this is really, like you said, Jason, a mirror up to society. You know, we've had audience members come and say, "My God, that's what my parents went through. I had no idea." And you know, then we do a time jump in the second act as well to modern day. So we see the generation from Mr. and Mrs. Baines coming up and Dundas generation and how they integrate and how they've made it from late 60s to now. And it's incredible.
And but you're talking about a time where, as you say, things have hopefully changed a lot for the better. And whilst I know Wolverhampton of today, we've got a wonderful community of people from all sorts of backgrounds, races, in nations within the EU, the Commonwealth, and beyond. And it
Yep.
is so good to see so many people coming together to create a world where actually equality is important, but just as important is the community spirit, which means everybody just gets on with it. And whilst nowhere is perfect, and we still have issues, and we've still got idiots, but we've got a community whereby we're just part of it, and that's how it should be. But that certainly wasn't how it started, and that journey has been a blooming difficult one.
Yeah, I think, we've had audience members, from all sorts of cultures and backgrounds. Like, I mean, we've had white people come to me, British people and English people come up to me and going, um, we had no idea.
Hmm.
We had no idea that this is what you go through. And you'll never have an idea. But this is the beautiful thing about theatre. You come and you're seeing a glimpse into someone's life,
Hmm.
from privately, and seeing how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
You just carry on. Back then, that culture of how it was, you come to this country, yeah, you get abuse thrown at you. Yeah, you'll get the odds thrown against you, but you still make it. That's what the dream was of coming to this country. And it's amazing, you can set your own shop up and start a new generation here.
Hmm.
That generational wealth and gold, which Gurpreet Kaur Bhatti talks about, which is in the play, that's what she finds, and that's what we found, generational gold. Um, it's amazing. Yeah.
We're now looking at the third generation here, and therefore you've got a generation who've been born with a British passport, and they are British Asian. It's how people are defined, which is always confusing, isn't it?
Well, look, you can define someone, and that person can define themselves, and it's two different things, right? You're saying to me, an Asian gets born in Britain, they're British first. That's your opinion on it, right?
Hmm.
Whereas some people might go, no, you know what? I still hold on to the culture. I just happen to be British and born here, but my roots go all the way back. Like I'm one of the first, I'm 25%, I've got 70, 80% back home, and that's what's channeling through. So there's two sides of everything. Some people that say, no, I really want to escape. And the play talks about that. Listen, I've dealt with it, being first generation as well, being born in this country. My parents from back home. And in this play, we talk about, the character, Arjun, how he deals with that. You know, he wants to make his own life. He wants to do his own thing. He's been given this generational gold and he wants to shoot out, go away from Wolverhampton. And that's, leaving your roots. And then we have another character, my other character, Ranjit, who's stayed in Wolverhampton and he's really embraced, like you said, there's some people that really embrace it. And, everyone gets along.
And the important
And
thing is we all
oh,
respect each other for what we do.
exactly.
We're just a different group of people that all have different tastes, different interests, but actually we're one. We're humanity.
Yeah. And the play talks about that. And it also talks about change because that didn't happen overnight,
No,
Jason.
no, no.
So the play also talks, we don't shy away from anything like that, we really show you how it was and what we had to go through. And
Mhm.
I don't want to say too much, but in Wolverhampton, there was a riot almost taking place and we,
Mhm.
we touch on that, so, and it hits people. So yeah, we don't shut, we just stay to the truth of how it was. These are the facts. And
Yeah,
now look where so it's great. You really see the whole range.
yeah, and it's good to have more communities that reflect different backgrounds, different understandings, and it all brings a different flavour, and it makes the world a better place.
And what better place to do it than Birmingham Rep, coming there, showing a slice of Wolverhampton.
It should be good represented, which is the way we like it.
Yeah.
Birmingham-rep.co.uk is where you want to go to. You can grab your tickets online, or you can give the box office a call on 0121 236 4455. Grab your tickets, be part of it, and you've got a brilliant run all the way through to July to be able to see and experience the wonders of marriage material. And we haven't even touched on the fact that you've got 3 generations, 2 love stories, and so much other stuff going on besides. You won't know where you're coming or going. It'll be brilliant. Take it all in, absorb, go and see it twice if you need to. Sounds great. Omar Malik, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Everybody Wants to See Me Happy is the latest work from Angus Crowne and the Family Jewels. Angus himself joins me now. We're not going to go into where the Family Jewels are just at this moment in time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Jason?
All good here. So give us the background to your musical journey then, please.
Background, huh? It's a long, long story that happened many, many years ago. I do a mashup of ukulele punk rock. So I strum a ukulele, I do a rockabilly, and then also punk rock. So it's been a mashup. This is, I believe, my 5th record in about 7 or 8 years. And this one's the opus of them all, which was the last one. And then the one before that. I only get better, I guess, with age.
Well, that is it. But I mean, I'm not sure what a ukulele punk rocker should look like, but it's not the look that I have in front of me. You're dressed smartly with
Yeah.
jacket and shirt.
Right.
Behind you, there's a plant which looks like it could take over the world. So this isn't necessarily what I would anticipate when you hear the music.
No, but there's different facets as we get older. So today I was feeling a little bit dressed up and wanted to come this way. There are other days I'm almost naked.
We're lucky we got the shirt and tie and
Yeah.
the shirt and jacket, so that's all good. Okay, so when you're creating music, I mean, this is, as you pointed out, each of your albums is the pinnacle of your career when you get there. That is expected. But what drives you to this? Because it's sound you have to commit to.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially this sound because it's a mashup. It's when I'm presenting 3 different kind of musical styles on the same record, it's really about bringing a seamless connection between them. For me, I really enjoy the idea of taking the different facets of my personality and blending them out. As a middle-aged guy, I think the punk rock comes out at certain points. So I wish it could come out a lot more. But I'm supposed to be wise with my age, so I play the ukulele a little bit more, I think.
So you certainly, I can see the uke being part of your world. So that's as expected. But I mean the whole genre itself that you've pretty much created. So what inspired you to think down this route?
I think it was very hard for me when I started to want to really focus on being a musician, to sort of stay on one lane. Because I have a theatrical background, I used to own a vaudeville theater like way, way many years ago, longer than before you were alive. And so there's a shtick guy in me, and that's where the ukulele comes in. And I like to sort of sing little love songs on it. And sometimes I like to scream out loud on that too. Rockabilly is something just fun, always been part of me. I wouldn't say it's the music that I listen to most or play the most, but it does connect to me in a way that's very personal. The punk rock, I think for me, I probably am closest to being a punk rocker inside. I don't look it today, but I think there's a lot of angst inside of me. And after a while, I think this gives me that outlet to sort of come back and sort of touch upon myself. Something that's very, very important to me. I think a lot of people who are middle-aged have a lot to scream about.
But every once in a while, the safety pins will come out. You'll have that sort of semi-metallic look that set off a metal detector in an airport, and the hair goes a bit spiky and funny coloured.
No, I used to have pink. I used to have pink hair. I do ride a Harley Davidson in a leather jacket, and I do flip off everybody all the time. So
Proper hard rock, and
Mhm.
that's the way it works. Hard school there. Okay, so we got a 10-track album. The title track is the one we're going to listen to in a minute or two's time. But what is the writing process? Because are you somebody who suddenly ends up with a tune in your head or something to say, or do you almost have an agenda to your music? Because punks have an agenda, surely.
Yeah, sure, sure. For me, it's the first drum. Whether I write for the instruments that I play, which is the ukulele and the bass. So it really comes down to strumming and just finding a melody that's sort of kicking in. I would say that lyrically, I've always been comfortable with the lyrics. I kind of venture a little bit further sometimes in them when I'm starting to, think about something that isn't really necessarily what's on my mind, but maybe subliminally or subconsciously, I've been thinking about something. But sometimes the song comes pretty quickly. You can write a song in a few hours if it just comes as naturally as it can. Songs that take a lot of work usually end up on the floor, and I don't end up finishing them because I haven't. If I start on a process, I feel like I'm emotionally connected to it. But if I get to a certain point and it's not really resonating anymore, then I don't feel like it's something I should produce.
Okay, so you're willing to let your song babies disappear into the night?
Yeah, I kill them. I just stab them and get the hell out of here.
That's
How dare you? Come on.
Okay, what's your audience like? Because I can see how on pre-recorded works you're easy to get into. The sound is good, but when it comes to gigging, how do you get enough of people into your genre? Because you concerts don't necessarily happen that regularly, do they? So it's not so much a thing. It's normally they turn up at a garden party or a family event. They're less likely to be playing at the big venues.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever be welcome to a ukulele convention or to play like in that setting because I'm not traditional. I play it the way I want to play it. I play songs that aren't really supposed to be on the ukulele. For me, like one of my most favorite concerts was in Los Angeles. There happened to be a group of clowns at it, and they really were clowns. They had the makeup all over, and it was tattooed makeup. So it wasn't something they just put on.
They committed.
Yeah, there's a subculture that does this. And one of my songs from my first record is called Lullaby Blues. And it's also, I do a jazzy version at concerts, which is on the new record called Lullaby Blues Revisited. And that was a great concert because I'm screaming the lyrics of Lullaby Blues, and I get these clowns in a mosh pit yelling and screaming, throwing things at each other. So, it was wonderful to watch. It was one of those moments I know I couldn't do again. But I really promote mostly in Europe. I promote in the UK. I promote in France and Germany because these are markets that still are interested in learning about music. They're still interested in getting to know artists who may not be considered mainstream. So at my concerts, I probably have had people as young as 15 or 16 and as old as 60 and 65.
So a wide variety of people into a musical genre they probably couldn't name, but certainly appreciate. And a world which on stage I should think is just completely confusing, but still utter music to the ears. So I'm liking the whole ethos of what you have here. Are you out on tour? Are you heading across the world in the near future?
Yeah, we're putting something together right now. We're going to do a couple of dates in the UK, a couple of dates in Paris, and a couple of dates in Berlin. So we're putting it together now. I'm hoping to get those dates confirmed and on the calendar by the end of September.
So we'll look forward to finding out what's going on there. Where do people find you on the socials, and where do they get the hats that you wear as well?
Well, actually, they can go to, you say that because I always wear a hat, and today I'm not wearing a hat. They can go to Angus Crowne Official, or it's a official Angus Crowne. I forget which one it is, but
officialanguscrowne.com.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. So they can always go there and kind of get everything that they need.
And track what's going on. Be warned when you're in the area for good or bad reasons, and look out for that man who does own a raincoat, a hat, and probably a copy of Vogue, as well as a ukulele, which he knows how to use. It sounds like a glorious world to live in, and we shall enjoy that now because everybody wants to see you happy. That's the album, that's the single, and Angus, it's been a joy to meet you.
Same here, Jay. Thanks, Jason. Have a great one.
Everybody wants to need me, everybody wants to be me, everybody wants to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. Everybody needs to feel steal me. Everybody needs to steal me. Everybody wants to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. Everybody wants to have me. Everybody wants to slap me. Everybody wants to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. Everybody needs to poke me. Everybody needs to stroke me. Everybody needs to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. Everybody wants to jump me. Everybody wants to hump me. Everybody wants to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. Everybody wants me happy, even when I'm feeling crappy. Everybody wants to see me happy, so I say I'm happy. 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 So I say I'm
Now, new research has shown that only 20% of people aged 18 through 24 know what motor neurone disease is, MND, and 3 in 10 of those surveys didn't know that many people living with MND were unable to afford the additional costs of managing their condition. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Richard Evans, Director of Engagement of the MND Association, and Zoe Nixon, someone who was diagnosed with MND in 2022. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
So, first of all, Richard, give us some background to the work of the MND Association and the sort of support that's needed here, because the survey is showing that we need education in the general population as well as an understanding of what early symptoms might be.
So MND is a terminal condition affecting around 5,000 people at any one time in the UK. And we as a Motor Neuron Disease Association, it's important that we're offering support, financial support, but also information, campaigning for people, for changes that will benefit people affected by MND, and also crucially funding the research that will one day get us to better treatments than we have today, and all that depends on volunteers and on fundraisers to be able to help us take it forward. So it's a thank you for inviting us on to get across the message that if people actually want to do something positive to help the MND community, then go on our website at mndassociation.org and take an action today that will give your efforts to helping in the cause of making life better for people.
And Zoe, I mean, you unexpectedly became part of that MND community around 3 years ago now. And what was it that first triggered a concern in your health?
For me, it was movements in my hands. I was eating with a knife and fork. My hands would get locked and spasm, and I weren't able to open them. And when I was training my sergeant at the time, he was shouting at me saying, "Sort your shoulder out." And I'm thinking, okay, I didn't think there was anything wrong with my shoulder. It was just over a period of time, things started to change, but mainly in my hands and the strength.
And what sort of treatment are you getting to try and alleviate these parts of the condition?
Zero. There isn't. There's a drug called Riluzole, which has been on the market for years, but that only extends your life, they say, around 3 months, and the side effects are quite huge. So I decided not to go ahead with that. But there's lots of trials going on at the moment, and I've just come off a drugs trial that didn't unfortunately work, but there's lots of work going on in the background for drugs trials. And
Richard, obviously, with this sort of work that's going on, you need people with the bravery that Zoe's showing here to be part of that trial, to look for anything that might be able to help. What sort of time period is it usual from diagnosis to the worst outcomes for this condition?
Well, it really depends. So MND affects people very differently in different people. To give you an idea, though, about half of people with MND die within 2 years of diagnosis, but some people can live much longer. And as Zoe says, one of the things that is important for people is to be able to get on the clinical trials, but both so that they can use their experience to sort of try to sort of take the science forward altruistically, but also because it gives them the hope of of being able to access a treatment that might turn out to be effective. And one of the things that we do at the Motor Neuron Disease Association is try to link up people with that research. So we're funding a new program of research nurses to cover England, Wales, and Northern Ireland in a way that will help people with MND to get onto those trials to get access to those new and promising treatments.
Oh, Zoe, I hope that very soon there's another trial which can be something which works for you. And obviously, a bleak outlook, but have they described to you what's actually happening in your body? Do you know what the breakdown actually is?
Yeah, from my experience, it is messages from the brain that send messages through your body, which are to the motor neurons, which actually help you do actions like pick up and move. And they are corrupted and then they die. So your muscles start to waste, and there's no way of reversing that at the moment. So I will become paralyzed, and it's likely that my breathing will be affected. Highly likely that my voice will disappear. It's not all the same for everybody. It's very different. So mine starts in my hands, but it can start on your feet. It can start in your throat where you have a slurred voice. But yeah, I understand what's happening. We just don't know how it was caused or what we can do about it. It's mainly just dealing with the symptoms.
And that, of course, comes with a cost on a day-to-day basis. There will reach a point where you'll need significant amount of care to be able to help you keep going, and hopefully be able to continue maybe some of the mental work that you're able to do, even if physically you're being slowed down by this condition.
100%. Fortunately, I'm in a good place. I had life policy in place. I had critical illness policy in place. So I was and I am able to make the changes around the home, but I know a lot of people don't have that. And I do have a slow progress. I've had it for 3 years now, and it's affecting my hands and arms and neck and shoulders, slightly in my feet. But for some people that started the same time as me, unfortunately, not here now. So when you do get a diagnosis like this, the authorities need to be acting a lot quicker and to try and get these things in place, which cost a lot of money. So it's like electric beds and wheelchairs, changing adaptations in the home with wet rooms. I've had a fob system fitted at the house so that I can get in the door safely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm future-proofing what is going to be happening. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not in that position to get those things put in place, and it puts huge pressure on them. They're not able to work, and then they've got their aspect of their family members having to step in to care for them. And so they'll have to leave their jobs or consider something else they can be around. It affects everybody.
A difficult path ahead, one that can hopefully be slowed and improved on. But Richard, there's no immediate help there. 6 people will be diagnosed today with MND in the UK. And for them, again, this is a condition and a sad, slow demise, which it must be harrowing from a mental point of view as well as the physical conditions that people go through. And again, this is where the association comes in to help too.
Yeah, it's a devastating diagnosis, as Zoe sort of described, and we as an association do what we can and rely on support to be able to do more. So I'd really encourage people to give if they're able. I think the hope goes on in terms of for research for the future. I should add that there is now an effective treatment for 2% of people with motor neuron disease with a specific genetic change, but being able to have a treatment 2% of people just isn't enough, and we want a treatment for everyone, and so the search for that effective treatment goes on.
Yeah, so if you're looking at 2% of what 5,000 people, we've got a handful of people. The next week's diagnosis are the only people that potentially who might be able to help. That's the sort of numbers that we're looking at, isn't it? We've got the rest of the year's diagnosis who are sadly going to be in a position
Absolutely.
whereby there is no immediate help for them with treatment or therapy. It is purely helping to make sure they are comfortable and able to do as much as possible for as long as possible. And obviously, that isn't a position we want to be in. We want to see more help here. So, Zoe, I mean, obviously, you've got difficult times ahead that you clearly are coming to terms with that better than I think anyone I could imagine would cope with. So, educating, talking about this, it is vital, isn't it?
100% yes. I didn't understand what MND was until I actually got the disease myself. I'd heard of the ice bucket challenge and things like that, but I didn't know how it affected the body and how many people actually do get it. 1 in 300 is a lot, and I think it's increasing. And people just need to understand that and need to be aware. And the only way we're going to change giving people an option for treatments is just fundraising. So if anyone is considering any sort of fundraising at all, please, I beg you to do it for the Motor Neuron Disease Association so they can put it towards research and to help people that can't afford things like wheelchairs and adaptations in the home.
Richard, where can to go once again to find out all the information about being part of the MND Association?
So go to mndassociation.org and you can find information about fundraising, about more about the condition, to help educate yourself to raise awareness, and also there's lots of volunteering opportunities. Just really encourages, as Zoe says, for people to get involved because the amount of impact we're able to have as a charity, it depends on the number of people who are supporting us. And I think we've seen through the stories of Rob Burrow, Doddy Weir, and others over the last few years, the massive impact that awareness can have. Like, our income has gone up dramatically as a result of that, but we still need more to be able to do more for people. So please get involved if you're able.
Oh, Richard Evans, Director of Engagement at MND Association. You and the team, please keep up the good work. So we wish you every good part of the prognosis for the future. Hopefully there'll be a trial which will make a difference to you and you will be part of the future of other people also be getting a treatment which will help then. Zoe Nixon as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jason.
New research from Lumo is telling us that there is still a north-south divide. The joys of being in Wolverhampton in the middle means we be friends with everybody. One of our friends from the north, currently living down south, is Jack Marriner-Brown, actor, northerner, and of course you've seen him on the Traitors. How you doing, sir? Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Jason. Very good, sir. Very good.
Now, when it comes to getting out and about, Lumo and Hull Trains have been doing this research because it is sometimes like visiting a foreign country when we head down south, isn't it? And I know you, with your acting, when you went off to study, you moved down south into London, and that must have been a bit of a shock to the system for a Bridlington boy.
So obviously I grew up in Bridlington, maybe 30,000 people maximum. I'd lived and worked my entire life in Bridlington, working on the markets with my parents. And then I moved down to London when I was 18, and the shock of it was so massive. But the bigger thing was actually before I went down there, everybody was coming up to me like, "You're not going to London, are you? You're not going to London. You're not going down south." So I think the idea of this north-south divide is so massively ingrained in our minds that it can sometimes have a bit of an effect on our mentality when we are traveling to our geographical counterpart.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody worries about whether you could afford a property down there, things that may be cheaper up north, and I think that does vary on depending on where you're going. If you're going northwest, I think somewhere like Liverpool, prices are a bit higher up there. Certainly Manchester, same way as you might see in any other big city. But if you go to some of the northeast towns, you have a great time. You get some brilliant value for money. When you say you were going on holiday maybe to Bridlington.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing. We're talking about value for money, and you actually hit the nail on the head there when we were talking about things that you like about different parts of the country. So teaming up with Hull Trains and Lumo, we did a massive survey. We surveyed just over 2,000 people, an even split of northerners and southerners, and we asked them what they like about the other part of the country and if they think the north-south divide is still going. And what we found was actually quite shocking. So First of all, I'd like to say 78% of all the people that we spoke to all said that the idea of a north-south divide is actually a thing of the past. And 96% of those went further to say that they actually enjoy spending their time in the opposite half of the country. 61% of people said that they would happily relocate to the other end of the country, while 2/3, another 66%, have or would date someone from the opposite end of the country, which I thought was quite interesting.
See, that is all intriguing, isn't it? And I think when you were on the Traitors as well, I know it was only a brief visit, sadly, because of the way that the gameplay worked out. But I mean, that was an interesting mix of people, north-south divide, and and particularly with people pretending to be Welsh, that sort of stuff that was all going on there. It is an interesting melting pot to see how people from different parts of the country all come together. And do you think your northern roots may have hampered you when it came to being rescued from that cage?
Well, do you know, it's actually very funny that you say that, because maybe my northern roots, I don't think the northern roots hampered me. I think it's the fact that I absolutely bottled it when I was up in the cage. But this is a perfect example of the three people that got off the train. Alexander, who's from London. Fozia, who's from the Midlands.
She's from Brum.
Somewhere. Oh, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, exactly. Fozia, a Brummie. And then me, a Northerner. So we had a perfect allegory, different ages, different cultural backgrounds, three very specific points in the country, and all three of us were the ones who decided to get off the train. So I think if that's the evidence that you need, that there's not a north-south divide, then that's everything, right?
Yeah, I think this is interesting the way these things work out. And of course, if you are looking at getting on the train, if you want to get ahead across, if you fancy getting to the northeast, if maybe a trip out to Morpeth, heading up that way through up to Edinburgh, then it's all good fun to be able to grab your tickets via Lumo and see what Hull trains have to offer.
Yes, exactly. I mean, listen, let's be real. Traveling by train, in my personal opinion, I mean, loads of people think I hate trains because I was so desperate to get off and start the train. But contrary to popular belief, I love trains. Traveling by train, in my opinion, is the future. Let's be real, guys. Summer's coming up, right? So we're all thinking about going to Benidorm or that flight somewhere, or Spain, wherever. Why not just take a second and think, let's have a staycation. Let's support our local economy. Let's support the environment by traveling by train and also saving a bit of money. I drove from London back up to Yorkshire the other week. It cost me, I think, more money in petrol than it would have done from getting a train. So it really is becoming a more affordable, a more convenient way to travel. So I think, yeah, let's actually think about booking that staycation and supporting our small holiday towns like Bridlington.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I've done both. I mean, I've gone down to London on the train and up to Edinburgh, stop off a few places on the way. It's a great way of doing it. I need to do more stuff over in the northeast, so I think heading that way would be a good move. Where can we go for more details on the report, the north-south divide, and whether it's there? Plus, of course, where can we grab some great train tickets at brilliant prices?
Yes, please, everybody head over to the Hull Trains or Lumo websites to find more information and to book direct to get the best deals and the best prices.
Absolutely. I mean, link in trips from the Midlands and across and up and down the country from there. And what have you got coming up? Any TV movies on the way? Because obviously we didn't get to have you hide the fact you were an actor enough when you were doing the Traitors. So what's coming up and where's your socials?
So to be honest, things are kind of moving in a very new and interesting direction. So I'm doing a bit more presenting now. So I've started picking regular work for Morning Live and doing other presenting gigs on the BBC. I've just done the Chelsea Flower Show for them. I'm going to be covering Wimbledon for them, which is exciting. I've just been and bought a brand new Fred Perry for the occasion, so that'll be very good. So yeah, look out for me on the television. I will be in your circle very soon. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's Jack Marriner-Brown, R, all one word.
Okay, Jack Marriner-Brown. Thank you for joining us. Have a brilliant time. Enjoy Wimbledon, and we'll speak again soon, I hope.
Thank you very much, Jason. Have a lovely day.
That's your lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 836 next week. Hope to have you along then. See you soon. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. Goodbye from the milk bar. Goodbye from the milk bar. Goodbye from the milk bar, yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar, yeah.